Hello and welcome to Planetside 2. So, I don't know if I have just paid more attention to it of late, or if there's been more of it of late. What I'm talking about, random hacking and cheating calls and random calls for, being lucky and noob and so forth when it comes to simple firefights with someone, whoever. So basically, yeah, I don't deny that there is some hacking, there is some cheating. Every game seems to suffer from that. I don't know why people do it. I don't personally do it. And it annoys me a little when someone calls me a hacker because he ran in front of my crosshair and I shot him before he was able to shoot me. So I figured this is a good time to make a little bit of video about, some very basics when it comes to infantry tactics to do with cornering and so forth. For majority of FPS players out there who play a lot of FPS games, this is all very basic stuff and you know all these things. By all means watch this video anyways. For the newbies among us, especially me, since I don't play enough FPS games to really be good at these things, I have to still think about some of this stuff. So let's get on with it. Okay, so have me a nice quiet biolab here to do a little bit of demonstration in. First thing first, with really basic stuff. Exposure. If I'm out here, how exposed am I? Can be shot at from there, can be shot at from that doorway, from this doorway, from down this hallway, from back there. I'm really exposed. But if I run all over here, suddenly my exposure is much less. As you can see. That's a really basic thing to remember. Use cover. Try to be less exposed. Because the more exposed you are, the more likely it is that someone spots you and shoots you. And then you're dead. You see that a lot in open air battles on indoor and so forth everywhere. Where people just don't use cover at all. They run across the open terrain and some infiltrator or someone just pops them in the head and then they complain. Don't do that if you want to stay alive as an infantry. Use cover. If it takes you 5 seconds more time to get to your destination, but you get there alive and intact, isn't that better? Next thing is corners. Corners is where I see most people make mistakes. I mean, I completely suck at FPS games. I'm the first one to admit that, and even then I win duels at corners against people who are vastly higher battle ranks and so forth. Because the main thing I see with corners, people come when you are attacking a biolab or something, they come around a corner like this. If there happens to be someone in this room or back here or in that room, for example, just examples, you come around this corner at speed, then you try to go aim down the sides and shoot at them, they probably have shot you already. So when you are doing cornering, starting the cornering from aiming down the sides and scanning it before you go around the corner. And if there is someone, you can either try to shoot at them or you can quickly get back into cover. Instead of exposing yourself fully like this and then trying to aim down the sides. Such as, for example, sprinting down here, aiming down the sides, then you decide, oh god, there are 3 guys, I need to get back into cover. This is suddenly a really long walk when you have bullets raining on you. Also, remember about corners and exposure, that there is a Z-axis in this game. When you are out in the open, outside of biolabs and stuff, there are planes in the air, and inside and so forth, there are light assault troopers who like to get on top of buildings or the foliage or something, and just shoot you in the head from above. Keep that in mind. Another really good thing, I don't like to play with my minimap enlarged like this when I play Infantry. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on the situation a lot. But always remember to take a quick peek at the minimap. It will help you stay alive. Because when someone shoots, they pop up on the minimap, and if it is close, you can occasionally see if it's around the corner or somewhere nearby you. You can't tell elevation really well, unless you happen to know exactly the map and location you are. But you can still tell that they are around, and that's the big thing. So yeah, that's exposure, corners. Keep those things in mind. If you wanna fight around corners, running past it and then trying to go aiming down the sides probably is your doom. Also pre-firing, especially with guns like this, which have large magazines, you can start firing before you go around the corner, and you probably get the jump on the guy behind the corner. Because you already have bullets coming out of your gun by the time your, crosshair hits the target you're trying to get at. As for the whole exposure thing, I'll toss in a real good example. That teleporter there. So many times I see people, especially engineers with turrets, camping out here. Camping that doorway. You realize just how exposed this place is? It's like those two doorways, this doorway at your rear as well, and downstairs, even that doorway, you can come in from down there, and then obviously there are these two doorways which should be covered if you're defending. But still, you're staring at this direction, suddenly you have like 3-4 ways to get to your side or behind you. This is not a good place to camp this doorway. I'll let you figure yourself where is a good place to camp the doorway. I will leave that to you. Now then, let's quickly talk about some human physiology stuff. Because I am right-handed, I have a tendency of being able to react to things faster when I move my wrist, my hand, towards my body, because of how human elbow works. Which is one reason why when I come around corners and stuff, I prefer to come around them from this side, from the left side, because I react faster into this direction than I react to this direction. That's something you personally need to figure out, which way can you whip your mouse to faster for a target acquisition. That's personal thing. I react faster towards left, so I try to go around corners like this. If you do it better to the other direction, you might want to go around corners like this. Obviously sometimes you don't have the choice, sometimes you do. And when you do the one thing which is better for you. Then another aspect which is to the gaming. Get used to your gun. Like, I don't play heavy assault all that much. I play it when it's needed, and usually it is needed when I have to do anti-air cover and stuff with rocket launchers. But when I do play heavy assault, I stick to that one single gun. Because I don't have the time when I play heavy assault, as I said, I don't play it enough to try to learn the recoil and stuff of multiple guns. Put it this way, if you put 100 hours into getting used to this Gauss saw or whatever, T9 carve for the TR, whichever gun, if you put 100 hours into getting used to that gun, you are going to be able to dominate guys who have spent 10 hours on 10 different guns. Simply because they are not so familiar with their weaponry as you are with yours. So when it comes to running around with a gun in a setup you don't normally use, especially if you normally play a light assault but have to hop in on a heavy assault, there is no reason to try to have 10 million guns open for your heavy assault, as that's not your main interest, right? So I think this pretty much concludes the whole business. It's like very basics here in this video. So to recap, remember exposure, remember corners, check out which direction you move your mouse to. Keep in mind the guns handle a little differently. They might have a bit different stats, they also handle a little differently. Scopes are a really good example. Get used to a scope which you like. And most importantly, the most important thing towards the end, don't let anyone else change the way you play. Because if you enjoy gaming, you don't have to worry about being the most efficient and effective player around. Don't let those who complain, whine, and call you names force you to change how you play a game. I don't rush around. I don't have the twitch reflexes to rush around past corners and try to shoot everyone in the head. I'm not the kind of guy who has the reflexes to do that. So if you are not that sort of a player, don't let anyone force you to play like that. That's my advice. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully this was at least helpful of, you know, learning some very basics of becoming better at infantry combat. As said, thank you very much for watching.